one love and blessings from Jamaica. This is day 3 of Kingston 2021 Animation Conference and Film Festival, the virtual edition. I go by Caleb. You won't believe what we'll have in store for you today. My co-host Debbie will get us started.
Thank you so much, Caleb. You are absolutely right. Now, everybody fancies themselves a little bit of a content creator, right? But data-driven content creation? No, that's a different ball game. Well, animation studios are changing how they produce animation in this real-time production environment. This session will cover the latest use of state-of-the-art virtual production using hybrid magnetic optical motion capture while simplifying the whole production process. Now, right here from Kingston in sunny Jamaica, we're giving you Olivier LELARDOUX, Senior Vice President, Animation and Associate Producer, to give us his visionary ideas on creating data-driven content. But before we give you Olivier, we just want to remind you that the live chat feature is active and you can ask all the questions that you may have right there. Now, over to you, Olivier.
Hello, I'm very happy to be with you today. I'd like to thank you, the Kingston team, for arranging this event, which I hope will prove fruitful for you as for me. I'm Olivier LELARDOUX from Cybergroup Studios, and I will talk a little bit about real-time technologies and data-driven content. So I like to start a little bit about me and about Cybergroup Studios, what we are doing. So I'm a producer. I'm based in Paris, in France. I co-found Cybergroup Studio with a bunch of people from Disney, as Pierre Sisman or Dominique Bourse. More than 16 years ago, we have a studio in Paris with more or less 120 people, mixing artists, technical people. We have a full pre-production studio and a post-production studio there, but also, I will tell you more about that, other kind of profile and skills, like for the distribution and the merchandising segment of our business. We have a studio in north of France, based in Roubaix. It's the name of the city, dedicated to post-production and real-time animation. I will tell you more about that. And finally, we have an office in LA for creative purpose and business purposes in North America and China. So I'm a producer, and I'm also a director. I'm directing Gigantosaurus season 2 and 3 for Disney, but many other channels too, like Netflix for the season 1, and all the I have to say big broadcaster in Europe, public broadcaster in Europe, like France Television in France, RAI in Italy, and so on. It's a big IP. At Cybergroup, we are not exactly only producing series. We are trying to produce and create kids brand, meaning all the creation have to be global for the world, and also have to be driven, have to be business driven in a way that, in fact, the series is the heart of the brand, of the kid brand, meaning Gigantosaurus, for instance, and the other parts are merchandising, licensing, the gaming, and so on. So it's animation and the studio. We are producing the heart of our brands, which are the series and the IPs. But then we are expanding all the universe we are creating to all different aspects of the brand in terms of business. So that's very important to start from here, and you will understand why we are moving to real-time animation from that perspective. So I'm directing this series. I direct more than 800 episodes of different series in my career. For instance, Zoo, Little Zebra for Disney, and Zorro, the hero that everyone knows. And I'm at the head of the studio and at the head of the technology, in fact, and the innovation at Cybergroup. So Cybergroup, it's a company with 100 people in Paris, 40 people in north of France, and more or less 10 people in America. We are developing kids brands, as you know, and you know, when we are producing TV series, high-end quality for big podcasters, big platforms, it's very expensive. So in fact, when you have to produce content for the big platform, the big channels, everyone, at the top of the game in our industry, and at the same time, you have to exist on the social networks, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere. You need to think outside the box in the way you are making all of that kind of content. So with Gigantosaurus, it was exactly that case, because we had other big success at Cybergroup Studios in the past years. It was Zoo, for instance, the Little Zebra. We had a lot of business around that IP, but it was more or less 5 or 4 years ago. And at that time, the real-time animation and YouTube and all that kind of alternative platforms was not as strong as today. And so today with Gigantosaurus, we immediately had to manage that success in this period of the time. Meaning with Gigantosaurus at the top, with top ratings in the US and the rest of the world, the second season in production, the third season in production, a feature films in the process of development, a video game also released last year on Xbox, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, the second game actually in development. We had to think about how to exist outside the TV screens in order to propose to the audience a way to live the Gigantosaurus universe and to have fun with outside the TV screen. So I started to work on budget and stories in order to produce small content and funny content aside the main stories and the main episode based on the characters and the stories we had on screen. And we quickly realized that it was kind of, it was impossible to produce in the same way we was producing the series for YouTube, for instance, or for Facebook or for Instagram. So we had to look at the kind of technology or the kind of creative approach permitting ourselves to do that. And as I'm a big game fan, I'm playing video games since a long time, and I was always amazed by the quality of the games recently that I can play with. When I see the level of details on the recent games at 60 or 90 frames per second compared to our technology in the animation industry, which is I have to say a little bit more complicated and slow and easy to manage. I had the idea to adopt the technology and the way the people was working in the video game applied to the animation. So I started to studying the technologies available on the market. Since 2 years, I saw the Unity engine absolutely visible on the festival space or or in a different animation event. I studying the sales technologies, but at the end I end up with Unreal for many reasons. First of all, because it was extremely aggressive in terms of communication, and beyond the communication, when I started to look at the software and the approach, the technical approach, and the ways it was helping the people in order to use the software and to learn the software, I decided to move forward with Unreal Engine. And then there is the mega grants opportunity, which is, I will tell you a little bit more about that later on, which is an absolute, it's a beautiful opportunity for all the creators and even studios in the world. So I started to work with Unreal Engine, and we discovered that, in fact, it's a total different universe. Working with Maya or 3ds Max, it's something that we know very well. It's our language since more than 20 years. And then we had to rethink, to restart our job. We had to reinvent ourselves, because that kind of software have a total different approach in terms of wording. First of all, the naming convention in terms of techniques is different than from Maya to Unreal, or for the traditional animation process and the gaming industry. So we had to think the way the technician in the gaming industry are thinking too. So it took a few months, a few weeks, and after the learning curve at a good level, we understood that it's absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely, I have to say, the only way to produce animation today and in the future. Why? Because actually you can produce highly detailed image at 60 or 90 frames per second in real time, in fact, easily with that kind of technologies, which is absolutely impossible with the classic pipeline. And on top of that, you can produce in 4K or 8K very easily, which is absolutely painful in the classical pipeline and processes. So we started to learn by ourselves. We was connecting with the Epic Games people, and which was very helpful. And we discovered the mega grants. And the mega grants, it's very, very big. You know, it's a big grant. It's $100 million that Epic Games are giving to the people who have great projects in terms of way to use Unreal Engine, and also any other kind of innovative approach or technology that they like. So we decided to apply this to the mega grants using the Gigantosaurus IP series. So we always had a producer approach in terms of projects. It was important for us to don't stay too much technical. Of course, the project was technical. It was a technical journey, switching from a classical and traditional pipeline to a video game pipeline. It's something. It's a journey, but always with one objective. It's permitting our characters or creation to live on all the platforms that exist today. So from Disney+, Netflix, the public broadcasters, to YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, even Switch. So so we applied to the mega grants, and we discovered that the mega grants, it's something. It's not only okay. You have a good project. You need eventually good content and the use of Unreal. It's not only this, it's also a philosophy. They really focus on the way you share, in fact, the content and the skills that you can develop inside the Unreal and the Mega Grants ecosystem. So everything has to be open source. So when you are developing new softwares, new tools, you need to put it in a open source environment, which is a great thing, because then it started that way is perfect to create a community around your developments, and then you discover that it's the fastest way today to develop cutting edge technologies. And also the educational aspect of the project is very important. So educational open source, it's all about sharing. So we had agreements with schools in order to share and transmit everything we learned about Unreal and all the research we did in terms of real-time animation. So it is it's absolutely amazing. We apply for the maximum of the grants, and we get it, and plus the support of the team at Epic Games and Unreal. So that way makes this experience absolutely amazing, because it was certainly funded, and plus a real expertise that Epic Games put on board for project. The project is called Giganto Club. It's a kind of series promoting the main series, and the main series is on screen on Disney Plus actually, and Disney Junior in the US. And this series is a club of Dinos fans that they are talking about the episodes actually on air the current week or the past weeks, and they are talking about, you know, little stories happening in the show, little stories about the characters. Eventually also we have games about Dinos fact and science fact and all that kind of stuff that we are not really into in the main series. In fact, the main series is about characters, dinos, living adventures, and having beautiful journey in a world, in the dinos world. It's not about science or dinos fact or anything. That club is a little bit about that. So it's a little bit educational. It's of course, it's also for promoting the main series and the characters. It's a fan club, but it's also educational. You will learn stuff, and we have fun with Dinos Fact. Of course, we wanted to produce it in a different way. So on top of the Unreal Engine, we used the motion capture system. The motion capture system was absolutely, for me, it was a little bit, I had many concerns about the motion capture because of for me, it was a very heavy technology, very complex, very expensive, and with a naturalistic result that I didn't really want for my dinos. So we started to study the different kind of motion capture techniques available on the market, and we found the Xsense technology, which is the technology from Northern Europe. It's a full magnetic system versus full optical system. It's a suite with captors and trackers. You don't need cameras. You can capture movement and performances outside, inside. It's absolutely amazing. And we mix that with a strong control rig system inside Unreal. because actually you can animate directly in Unreal. Is what we do. We have animators working in Unreal like they used to work in Maya or 3ds Max. And we find a way to use the productivity of the motion capture. So it's the eccentrics plus an helmet supporting an iPhone. The iPhone is capturing the face and transmitting all the curves to Unreal in order to move the faces. So we have that kind of real-time animation system, body plus face, largely used in Hollywood actually for virtual concerts, for instance, and everything plugged into Unreal. So in fact, it was we discovered that it's creatively it's amazing because we can really produce a lot of animation every day. We can react to what's happened in the world. In fact, every days, every weeks, because our talents or actors was absolutely available to shoot. You could capture a session every day very easily. And if something happened in the news, for instance, let's say we discovered a new fossil of dino in the world, we can talk about it in the next episode because 2 days later we can set up a session, we can capture the performance, talk about what's happened in the discovery, and then being on air the next week. So it's absolutely amazing. And the other thing in Unreal, absolutely powerful, it's that whatever the animator, the keyframe animator, or the motion capture actors, the performance, everything is real time inside the final backgrounds with the final lighting and all the environment. But in terms of immersion, it's not only immersion about the audience, because we talk about immersion for the audience a lot, not for the people who create the series. It's something totally new with that kind of technology, because when animators can animate the character with a final look, final rendering, with global illumination on, ray tracing on, all the environment, the plants, everything, the FX, everything on, is absolutely is inside the environment and the universe the character is. So we experience that in fact it's improving the animation, not only because the rigging or the control rig in Unreal is better than the software. I'm not saying that it's absolutely efficient, but the thing is that creatively the animators are more in immersion. So it's a really immersive experience working the animation that way. And of course, the people inside the streets for the motion capture performances, it's the same. They have an immediate feedback in Unreal, and they can really grab all the little details in the acting that they want to do, and they can reproduce it, and they can adjust on the fly the acting, looking at the results in Unreal immediately. So it's absolutely amazing, and that's where we are able to produce up to 15 minutes of animation per day. So of course we have a little bit of animation cleaning or adjustment after the capture session, but it's no more than 2-3 days for 2 people. So it's absolutely efficient, very in fact, once you know how it works, it's very easy to set it up. And for a producer like us, it's the best way to make all characters living on all the platform everywhere for a price absolutely I have to say the price is not the cost is not in the animation, and it's not anymore a cost per minute. It's just it's the price of the how many characters you want, how many environments you want, how many, what is the complexity of the environment you need. The cost is going there. It's very focused on that aspect. For the rest, it's concentrated in absolutely one step, the real time in Unreal. You do animation and compositing and cameras immediately at the same time, like in live action. So it's absolutely it's a new technology which is a total revolution for creators and producers like us. So I have a quick video I can share with you. You will see the results. If you can launch it, it's perfect. So that's the revolution. In fact, it's producing content for ready for all the platforms. The other thing very important is we experience the mutualization of the assets, meaning when we produced Gigantosaurus, the main series, we decided a few months after we started the pre-production of the series, we decided to create a video game. This video game was done on Unreal in a studio in Spain, and we started to think about assets mutualization. So the series was done on 3ds Max, and we started to share ZBrush and models and textures, and it works well. In fact, we shared all the props and the characters. Of course, they had to change a little bit the rigging and the mesh, but at the end, the first demo of the game was done in 3 weeks instead of 2 months. So it was before we started the Unreal journey. So with a production entirely done in Unreal, in fact, immediately the characters are ready for games. We did a few tests. It works very well. You can turn your episode into VR episode very easily. You can turn all your assets and your environment in video games levels and environment very easily. So it's not only producing in a faster pace or in a better quality, because the quality is absolutely higher than on a normal pipeline. It's also absolutely transversal. It's 360 degrees. It's the asset done can be immediately reused and directly reused by a gaming studio or a VR studio. You can explore all the storytelling that you want. So it's the heart of our work now. It's the heart of our development. We are developing the Northern studio in France that way. It will be a studio absolutely dedicated to real-time animation for that reason, because you can really mutualize everything. When you are a producer, when you create brand for the world, you need technologies permitting yourself to be more connected with the audience quickly and on all the medium that you can imagine. So I think it's something that you should explore. It's if you are a studio today, or if you are an independent creator, you should explore it. I know that the big games people or the Unreal people are kind to help many different profile of people. It's I know that I met a lot of people who got a mega grant, and it was some people was independent developers or small studios, big studios. So if you have your chance, if you have a project that you are okay with open source and sharing all the ideas you develop, and eventually even if you are okay to participate to conferences or educational content, it's something that will help you to have a success with a mega grant. A last thing about the French ecosystem. The French ecosystem is absolutely amazing since more than 40 years now. That's why France is so big in animation. And we have support from our government since more than 40 years on all aspects of the business and the entertainment business and the animation business. In fact, animation is considered like a cultural thing in France. That's why the Minister of Culture is, we have a lot of subsidies from the Vice Minister of Culture. And actually, we have a special grant for the modernization of the pipeline for all studios in France. So even the government understood that if after 40 years of effort funding the animation industry, funding the cinema, the TV industry, they understood that the actual paradigm change in terms of technology and pipeline is important. It's not only it's not only content, it's not only creation, it's also the way you make this creation happening. And so the French government helped directly the producer with funds up to 40% per show. Also in terms of development, if you have an idea, you can you can have a lot of money from the French government and also media in Europe, and now also for the pipeline. And it's a lot of money. It's not, it's a planet alignment with the mega grants and all the things we can see now, all the acceleration in terms of industries, gathering all the technologies around them. So it's something we have a lot of luck in France for that. So mixing the private fund like the mega grants and other partners, plus the French support in terms of technology research and pipeline research and modernization, we have the money in order to do that kind of new production. So yeah, it's in fact the government think that the kind of investment is round table. You can, when you put €1 in a production or in a concept or in a studio, you earn years later 2 or 3 euros back. It's a fact. We know that since more than 40 years now. It's something absolutely real. The culture, the animation is something absolutely great financially for government. Also, the government helps all the schools to create, a good ecosystem in France in terms of artists and skills and animation cultures. Also, since more than 40 years, so that's helping the producers and the studios to hire the French talents and a lot of people there. So it's it's actually something a little bit. If you want to be successful in producing content for the kids and series, you need to see what countries are helping and really considering the creation, the animation as a business, but also a cultural thing. And you have to see where are the talents, where are the schools. You need to check all the new technologies, because producing animation today is not the same that 2 years or 3 years ago. The change, paradigm change is done. It's absolutely done. And yeah, I think a lot of opportunities will happen. More opportunities will happen soon. The technologies, new technologies like the blockchain are absolutely interesting too, especially for the rights management and the distribution. Why not? So yeah, we are at the beginning of more changes. But in terms of animation pipeline, real time is the key for cost saving, more creativity, and more immersion for the artist, and at the end for the audience. So I'm happy to discuss with you guys. I think there is a Q&A session now, and I can't wait to answer to your question. Thank you.